chapter of One Piece, Luffy unleashes the full power of the Gear 4th and dominates Doflamingo's face with his colossal Kabuki cannons of carnage. Gear 4th Luffy is the balls. The Gear 4th technique is awesome. I absolutely love the design of it because a lot of people theorized that Gear 4th was going to be very similar to Nightmare Luffy, and in some senses it is. It's basically like a big buff version of Luffy where his legs are still small, but his upper body is massive. His arms and his legs are covered with haki, and he actually is able to use his arms like cannons. The very first technique that he uses is known as the Kong Gun, and you can actually see that his arm almost sort of transforms into a cannon as it sort of implodes on itself and starts to use its elasticity to create even more power, and he actually sends Doflamingo flying all the way from the top of the castle all the way to the ground of Dressrosa in one freaking punch. He follows this up with this move called the Rhino Schneider, where he kicks him in the face and sends Doflamingo skidding across the surface of Dressrosa Kingdom. It all ends with a Cavalry Cannon, which is this amazing punch which literally acts like a python as it goes in multiple directions until it literally decks Doflamingo right in the face. The action in this week's chapter was so on freaking point and is without a doubt the best action chapter I've seen from One Piece thus far. Although, keep in mind, I've only been reading the manga for a short period of time. I've mostly just been an anime fan. But this has been the most impressive chapter that I've seen thus far. The overall design of Gear 4th Luffy, I like. I like it a lot because he's big, he's buff, he's badass, he's got this whole like kabuki thing going on, which I think is really awesome. I like how the haki sort of infuses into his body almost like a flame. And you can even see that his eyes even have these new designs on them, which is kind of reminiscent of Sage Mode Naruto, and I mean that in the nicest way possible. Just, I love the look of Luffy here. It's unlike anything that I've seen from him in the series, and I think that's great. I especially love the look of the techniques, how he actually makes his arm go in on itself and it actually turns into a cannon, and I just love the overall design of him, period. He just looks awesome and explodes off of the page. Other important things about this week's chapter is that Law's arm is fine. Everything's good there, but who cares? Gear 4th, my friends. So what's the rundown on this week's chapter of One Piece? Oh my god, that was awesome. Like, damn, this is exactly what I've been waiting for. I love that Doflamingo didn't even see this coming, and even with his big, awesome techniques which seemed to pretty much defeat everything like his hamstring kick, it didn't matter. The elasticity of the Gear 4th allows him to pretty much take any sort of hit and retaliate tenfold. I especially loved how they animated that big final attack with the arm going off in multiple directions and hitting Doflamingo right in the face. The Rhino Schneider was awesome just for the build-up to it because it happened right after he was sent flying from the top of Dressrosa, and then immediately there he is, Luffy right there, kicking him right in the face. It looked so freaking awesome. I loved the design of this character so much. And what's really great is it seems like it's going to last a little longer than some of the other techniques that we've seen before. You know, whenever he would use Gear 3rd, originally he would turn into smaller Luffy, but eventually he trained himself. And with this brand new state, I can't wait to see if there's going to be some sort of like massive repercussion behind it. What's really interesting about it, though, is that, you know, there's a Gear 4th. I mean, there is the possibility we could possibly see 5, 6, or maybe even beyond this. So this could be just like the beginning of something new for Luffy, or maybe just another new thing to add to his repertoire of badass techniques. All I will say is I loved it. The technical side of things in this week's chapter was the artwork was just amazing. The design of Luffy was fantastic. The action scenes were really hard-hitting and awesome, especially with Doflamingo literally flying from the top and going through buildings, crashing through everything, his face skidding across the ground. It all looked really painful and incredibly impactful, and it's the first time that I've read a chapter of One Piece where I'm like, oh, God, I hope they do this justice in the anime. I really hope they do this justice in the anime because this looked really freaking awesome. It's almost kind of funny and jarring at first when you see that form of Luffy with his tiny little legs and his big massive arms, but when you finally see him in action and you see the destruction that he can cause and how fast he really is, it's definitely a sight to behold. And, you know, Luffy's just pissed beyond all belief. He wants to destroy Doflamingo, and I know we all want to see that happen. I don't think this battle is going to end that quickly, though. I still feel that Doflamingo is going to pull out some hidden tricks, some abilities that we haven't seen quite yet. I really think this is just the beginning of what could possibly be the best battle in One Piece thus far. You know, we still got a long way to go in this series. So I loved this chapter right here. Absolutely loved everything about it. So I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. You guys should definitely check out this chapter if you're a fan of One Piece, but let's face it, you already did. So please tell me what you thought about this week's chapter of One Piece in the comment section below. What did you think of Luffy's brand new design, the Gear 4th? Do you think there's going to be something beyond that? Do you think we're going to see that sooner than later? What do you think Doflamingo is going to do to combat these brand new abilities that Luffy is using? Please tell me in the comment section below what you hope to see from the rest of the Dressrosa arc. Thank you guys for watching my review. Make sure to share it with your friends and like it. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. You guys should also check out our brand new weekly podcast show. It's really awesome. You should also follow us on social media. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby.